is another Monday. We are off and rolling. Hashtag real race talk. Welcome in to the Revved Up Sports Show as we do it once again, as we always do and have been doing for the longest time right here on your Mondays, talking racing, talking life in general, talking all kinds of cool things. The Revved Up Sports Show, hashtag real race talk. It's Bobby Chaffee down south. Rodney Rodriguez up north. We are originating from Texas. And we welcome you in. A couple of different ways you can get a hold of us. Of course, if you are watching the show, you can always hit the chat line depending on where you are. I mean, there's lots of different places where you can consume this thing live, because we are live. It's always live, right, Bobby? Live. L-I-V-E.
Always live and in person.
Always live and in person. And when things go wrong, that's okay. But a couple of other different ways as well. We've thrown the text line there. I've a couple of people have messaged me, and it's like, well, I'd rather you not pull up my message. I'm like, well, then don't post it. That's what we always talk about before you hit send. It's like, think about what you're going to say before you hit send. So we've got the text line just in case somebody wants to do it that way. But the thing is, if you say it, it's probably going to get repeated. Anyway, enough of that.
If we Bobby, like it, we'll probably like it, we'll replay it. That's for sure.
That's right. The rain has passed. I know that the rain has been havoc coming up on the show. Probably in about 10 minutes or so, Memphis Villarreal is going to join us. I know that they went all the way to Montgomery to race 4-0. Dry run, very wet, dry run. And then we've got Chris Carroll that's going to join us at about 10 after the top of the hour. He's going to talk about a really cool thing that's going on in the month of November with CWR Warriors. But it looks like weather has passed, and I think we're going to start racing again. It very much seems like to me.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a hot one down in Houston this weekend. Looked like initial forecast kind of called for rain here and there, but not going to be as hot in August as it normally is down there. So it's a little cooler by about 5 or 6 degrees. I don't think it's going to crack 100. Of course, 95, 96 is still pretty damn close to 100. But, it's not. I don't know if the humidity is going to be up like it was. We have those gigantic pterodactyl mosquitoes down there in the bayou and all that good stuff. But I don't know. I am glad to get back to racing, though. I mean, that creates a lot of fun for us. And some opportunities for us to have growth on the show. But yeah, I'm looking forward to some racing. I'm about 90% sure that I will be there, depending on a couple of other logistical issues. But I look forward to going down to Houston and seeing the fine folks and the great racers we have down in the Houston area.
It was actually ironic this weekend as I was sitting around at the house. Obviously, and the whole thing is, I mean, there was no NASCAR. I mean, you got the Olympic break, so kind of catching some of that. I mean, I always enjoy the Olympics because for me, it's more for one thing, I have to cover them. So it's like, okay, let's pay attention to what's going on. But, the other events, swimming, gymnastics, all of those things. I mean, I saw some equestrian stuff going on and all of that. That's really cool. I mean, the men's basketball and all that, I mean, that's where the people are going to hone into when it comes to that kind of stuff. But it's like whatever. But it is kind of weird. It is kind of weird that you have NASCAR with the NASCAR stuff, and it's all come to a stop. And I got to tell you, on the short track side, I mean, I think it was because I found myself a Friday and Saturday where we always talk about get to a racetrack and find a place or whatever. If you can't find one, find a streamer. Man, I found some streamers. And I found my lazy chair, and I streamed the shit out of some good short track racing this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of good racing. There was some good stuff happening there. The Cars Tour race was very interesting. To me, the Cars Tour continues to get extracurricular and not so much in a good way. Those guys kind of beat and bang. I'm surprised they don't have a body manufacturer as a corporate sponsor there, as many body panels as they're tearing up here and there. But yeah, I love those interviews with Jacqueline, though, because they're so unrefined. You get the real feel and you get the heart of the sport right there with those guys getting out of them cars, running down to Jacqueline and telling them exactly how they feel right in front of JKD. So definitely makes me chuckle when I hear some of those interviews. The one about Dell Jr. send me a check or whatever. I thought that was a pretty good one too.
Yeah, she does a really good job right there with Ronnie Bassett Jr. winning that race in that, and we'll show that highlight here from our friends at Flow coming up in just a little bit. But it's one of those things to where I really like how now she doesn't let them I mean, it's one of those things, and it's a hard job being a pit reporter. I found that out at Five Flags, where it's like, I mean, that's not my wheelhouse. I'm not used to doing that. But when you ask somebody something, and when you really want that hardcore answer, it's like you kind of keep that mic in their face. You know what I mean? And it's like you ask the question, and it's like, and you keep it there. I mean, make them tell you something, and she does a really good job with that. But yeah, I'm kind of back and forth, and again, we'll touch on it more here in just a little bit. And again, we're on Race On, we're on Racing America on X, so we can really broaden this whole conversation. What what I like is that they race hard. Um, they are very rough on each other, but at the same time, it is one of those things to where you don't have a lot of what you get with some of these super races, to where it's like blatantly taking each other out all the time. And I think the other
All the time is the key word.
that's right. And I think the other thing that kind of factors into it is you had Hickory. I mean, looking at Hickory, it's like, man, that track is old, it's rough, it's beat up. And to see what those guys were doing, I mean, that was a lot of fun to watch. I mean, both races were really, really good.
I thought they were. I didn't get to catch the pro late model race. I thought the last 5 laps that I saw in the highlights was fantastic. That was one of the better pro late model racing finishes. Those guys were kind of like a little bit of bumper cars, but I like the fact they were able to, what is it, the old Timex, take a licking and keep on ticking kind of deal.
Yeah.
They were kind of beating and banging, knocking each other around a little bit, knocking each other up on the wall. But, I guess everybody held a straight enough wheel that it ended up, I mean, when you have 3 wide coming to a white, I think that's pretty damn entertaining, and it really was. So, you got to see some 3 wide action there in the late model stocks, but I don't know. That finish is still going to go down as one of the more questionable ones. But definitely, it was a hell of a night there at Hickory. The Carster living up to his name. I just feel bad for those guys that trash those cars, because you got like basically 3 weeks in a row to get those cars together. You run North Wilkesboro next weekend, and I think they run Langley or
Ace.
Ace the
Ace.
week after that. So you got 3
Yeah.
races back to back to back, and they tore up a lot of shit on Saturday night.
Yeah, and that's kind of the I mean, not the beauty of it. I mean, that is the shitty part, what you're talking about right there. But when you look at that schedule, I mean, the way that it lays out for them, and the thing about it is, I mean, you know that folks are gonna show up, and they're gonna have teams that are gonna race for that. But I think the other part of that is really to where, and again, like I said, we'll break into it in a little bit, but with the way that the race ended and the way that decision was made and a couple of other different things in there, I mean, they really go in and they try to police different things to try to pull it back in and try to make it just as competitive as possible for those folks, because they're spending a lot of money. But the other thing about it is, I mean, we can talk about those guys, but that's really kind of the old school stuff that we talk about on the show all the time, to where, like, when we talk about the Texas days, and Texas was so broad. I mean, when it comes to pavement racing, and the dirt guys do it all the time right now, to where you see these guys way up north and then they show up way down south. I mean, that's what you see with the Cars Tour, is to where they do that, but they're kind of all in that smaller radius right there of North Carolina, to where they're able to do that. And what another thing about I mean, everybody knows I have a hard on for the Cars Tour. There is no doubt about that. But the thing about it is, like you said, with the tracks that they're about to run the next 3 weeks, or the next 2 weeks, I guess, after you go to Hickory and then you go to Wilkes and then you go to Ace. I mean, it's like, God dang. I mean, how cool is that? I mean, that is badass.
I mean, to run Hickory and Wilkesboro back to back, that's pretty fun. If you're a fan of that series, because Hickory and Wilkesboro are not that far apart. They're within a couple hour drive, if not shorter than that. But I mean, definitely it makes it a hell of a show for the fans that like to travel around that Piedmont area and some of the different areas right there in the Mid Atlantic, for the cars and stars of the Cars Tour. So we'll see what happens. Maybe our good buddy Jared Fryer will actually show up at Wilkesboro, because I don't think he was over at Hickory the other night. Probably a good thing he had that thing parked. Might have saved him some money.
Yeah, the car was making money that night. In the pros, it was Jimmy Renfrew with the win right there, and good for him. I mean, just with the way that it all shook out, I mean, you had what you had right there at the end of the late model stock race. But when you saw the pros, that I mean, those guys, they were mixing it up. They were doing what they were doing, but I mean, they ran it just as clean as possible as they could right there. And Renfro, with the move right there at the end. and able to win that. And you got to appreciate that. And the fans love it. I mean, the fans show up in droves, and it's one of those things to where and I thought about it several times this weekend as I was watching the Cars Tour stuff, to where it's like, man, God, why can't we have that? I mean, I know Memphis is coming up in just a second, and I'm thinking it's like, man, if we could have a double bill like we have this weekend in Houston, where we have the modifieds and the trucks, man, if we could have something like what they had with the late model stocks and the pro late model, something like that, more constant. God, that would be so cool. That would be so cool, because they are onto a super sweet thing with the Cars Tour. And the whole thing is, Bobby, I think a lot of that is right now. A lot of people are like catching wind of that series, because you got Harvick, you got Marks, you got Junior, you got all that. This series has been that damn good for a long time. Way before those guys. I mean, that only enhanced it. It gave it more visibility and high profile. But that series has always been really, really good.
The series has been good. I mean, obviously, if it wasn't good, I don't think you'd see him buy it, right? I think
Right.
it became a thing of opportunity for Kyle Larson to buy Tony Stewart's or All Star Circuit of Champions, right? That was a little different. But the Cars Tour, I think we're gonna go back. We need to remember my thing. I asked Jared a couple of weeks ago about the Cars Tour, and I'm going to ask you again when we get back into discussion: is the Cars Tour getting too big? Because I think there reaches a point when you have mass velocity and it can only get so big. Now it's going to get too, I think, in my mind, and I'll get into it more. I think the Cars Tour is almost to that point where it's getting too big and they're getting too many people. And when you have too many roosters in one hen house, that's when you're going to start getting the cluster gaggle. There's a good one for you, cluster gaggle, that they've
I
had the
like that.
last couple of races. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good one. Where'd you find that? Cluster gaggle. Is that a
I've used it. I've
Martindale?
used it. I've
Is
used
that a
it before.
Martindale
Oh,
thing?
Caldwell County phrase, man. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's kind of old school right there. I'll
It's
tell
better
you
than
who.
saying the other cluster word, you know.
Well,
Trying to trying to hold up an image here, you know. When we got new listeners and new watchers, we don't want to think that all we do is drink beer and cuss on this show.
because some of those races do turn into that other cluster word. And here's a guy that can actually tell us, because I mean, this dude gets. I mean, he gets out and he's run these series and runs across the country on both variables. I mean, we've had him here all the time, and I've said many times that I think when it comes to most versatile drivers, and I have a very short list of dudes that can do really, really good things. I mean, this guy's right at the top. Let's welcome in our man once again. It is Memphis Virial. How we doing, brother?
Good. How are y'all doing?
Doing well, brother. Are you done over that long ass drive all the way over there for nothing?
Yeah, no, it wasn't luckily for us, it wasn't too bad of a drive from Mooresville. So it was about 6.5 hours. We loaded up and got on the road that night.
Awesome.
It's crazy when you think about it, right? You're so used, since you're originally from Texas, how far apart everything is. It's kind of neat when you think about a 3 or 4 hour drive from Mooresville. You're already in South Carolina. You're already in Georgia. You're already almost into Tennessee. It's just crazy how close everything is up there. It's still far apart, but it's just crazy how the logistics change when you're used to being, you can drive 3 hours in any directions and touch a couple of states, versus down here, you might touch a couple of cities within 3.5, 4 hours.
Yeah, no, it's very different for sure. Normally when you head out that way, we drive 7 hours and not even to Louisiana yet. So we're barely into Louisiana. So that's a lot different, but having a lot of fun up here.
So Memphis, kind of talking about that, and we can kind of just piggyback a little bit and get your opinion on that, as we were talking about the Cars Tour. Kind of your thoughts now that you're up there. I mean, you see everything that happens right there, and the series has grown. I mean, there's a lot of people that want to be a part of it, and so forth and so on. Kind of your thoughts with that. I mean, the pros are kind of secondary. The late model stocks, I mean, that's a shit when it comes to that thing. Kind of your thoughts on the Cars Tour now that it's evolved into this just immaculate thing that everybody can't wait to get their hands on.
Yeah, I know. I want to be a part of it so bad. Like that's my that's one of my goals right now is to be a part of it and be find something competitive in it. I think it's a lot of people. I think people in the top three series look at it and a little jealous they can't be a part of it. But I think no, I think it's really really good series, really good platform. It's a way to get exposed these days. So no, they're doing a great job with it in my opinion.
Hmm.
So in terms of the Cars Tour, what's the draw to it? Is it the just competitive nature because you're a competitive guy? Is it because they get a lot of pub and you just want to be part of it? What's the draw? I've always been torn about the reason guys want to race super competitive series. Is it just because it's the competitor in you that makes you want to go?
Yeah, I think because a lot of the people. I mean, there's every field there's some of the best in it, no matter where you go. But there, it just seems like anybody could win on any given night, and everybody has their tracks, and just seems like every race for that deal is a marquee event. If you could win it, it's a big deal. So it's just one of those type of deals that you just want to be a part of because everybody else is doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Memphis, kind of talk about, and we'll talk about Houston here in just a second. We'll kind of bring it all back home, but kind of talk about the mindset over there. I was having a discussion on Saturday night with someone where they were actually talking about more when it comes to north, as in north, as to very north of you guys, compared to why can the folks up north run late models on Wednesdays and Tuesdays and do all this other stuff, and down south, we struggle. Obviously, in Texas, we struggle a lot unless it's dirt. But you being kind of right there in the middle, what is the mindset there? Is it just that's the hub? I mean, that's where everything is right there in North Carolina.
Yeah, no, it's exactly it. Like in Texas, it's super tough to get anything, but here you have access to absolutely anything you want. Like I don't know, I've seen race car parts I've never seen in my life. You think about it, you're like, man, I wish I had this. And you walk in the store and you're like, man, there it is. Where was this? So it's just so much. I wouldn't say evolved over here, but there's just so much access to whatever you need over here. So it's just not easier because of course it takes a dollar to run a race team, but
Sure.
it's just it's where everything is right here, and it's just seems like there's a lot of racetracks in the surrounding area that try hard to put on events and get series like the car store there, and everybody just wants to race.
That's right.
It's crazy the difference, man. When I visit my grandmother in North Carolina and my grandparents, even in Georgia, but especially when she lived in North Carolina, the mindset over there is it's what we want over here. It's what racers dream about and wanting to see. You got NASCAR as the lead story. It's the number one story in sports. When it comes to Charlotte, the 600 and the Roval, it's the number one story. They send reporters out talk about how many people are coming. You see all kind of displays in the grocery store with race car parts. You've got with race car related stuff. It's such a different mindset over there. How cool has that been to just see and be like I know when I walk into like a Piggly Wiggly, right? I mean, I see Mellow Yellow and then I see like Del Jr. on the bottles of mayonnaise in there, right? It's like, damn, I'm in heaven. But then it's like, well, hell, I guess it's just part of nature over there.
Yeah, no, at first when we first moved up here, I was like, you walk into somewhere and like you said, you see things there. Oh, that's cool, racing stuff, and then now you just like it's second nature. It's normal. You go anywhere, you go to the freaking mall, and it's just like, oh, there's a race car. There's something to do with racing. You just drive down the road and see race car stickers all over random cars and stuff. It's different, that's for sure.
That was the weird thing for me. One of the first times that I flew into Charlotte, and it's like, damn, it's like I think I just died and went to heaven. I mean, it's like everything is racing around here. So coming up for the weekend, we're a couple of weeks late. July 6th, I guess it was. We had a weather issue. Had a really good field that was lined up there for pro mods and so forth that were heading out to HMP. Kind of talk about your thoughts this weekend, and if we could, I'd like to get your thoughts just kind of on the struggles of modifieds and trucks. I know that a lot of people in Texas, Memphis, are like, oh my goodness, they're dying off. But if you look along the Gulf Coast, I mean, I was looking at Mobile the other day. Hell, we had more than they do. I mean, kind of your thoughts on all that.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's just like where did it all go? Everybody was wanting to race so bad for that quite a while, and then they get it back going. It's just like it sucks that I can't be there to support and run every single race. Like I'd love to. That's my main deal. That's why we buy plane tickets to go down there, and luckily Terry lets me run his modified, and just support the deal and go fast and try to win these races. But the main thing is trying to keep racing alive down there. So no, it definitely sucks. I wish I had a truck to race and more things to race. I'd race whatever I can down there, but everybody has to kind of want to do the same and pitch in too. At
Mm-hmm.
the end of the day,
That's it.
Yeah, I think you hit on something there with it's so weird because everybody wanted to race, right? We released a schedule at the end of 2023 over at H&P, and everybody was excited and everybody couldn't wait. And then you show up at that first race and the place was empty. You had plenty of
yeah,
fans, but then you didn't have any drivers. It's like, what the hell, guys? You finally got the schedule you wanted with 11 dates, even a couple of rainout dates in there, and it's like, where the hell are you? What happened?
yeah, no, and of course, times are difficult for everybody. It's not cheap to race, whatsoever. But whenever you want it so bad, and people complain about it, it's just kind of like everybody's got to do their part at the end of the day. But hey,
Mm-hmm.
we'll do all we can to support that deal.
Yeah, absolutely. How much of it do you think is because you have done it well for a long time? I mean, like I've talked about, you get in a factory stock, you get in a whatever, and boom. I mean, there you are. Um, I think that's really put a sting on us because we haven't had the constant asphalt thing for whatever reason. But the one thing is, I mean, there's lots of dirt tracks down south. There's lots of dirt tracks up north, and so forth. And I think guys and ladies have kind of taken that path to where it's like, okay, I know that I can go race at 6, 7 different places every weekend. I think I'm just going to do this.
Yeah, I think a lot of it too is like the variety. Like I know whenever I was dirt racing every weekend, or even more than weekends, sometimes like
Hmm.
some Friday night shows, it's appealing to be able to go, run different tracks and just experience different places. And if one place rains out, there's a track 100 miles away that's probably not getting rain. So it's just probably stuff like that. It's just more variety.
Hmm.
So Memphis, let's talk about the truck series for a minute before we get back to Houston. Talk about your experience of going from the local short track hero down here, because you had lots of fans and winning lots of races, to the truck series. Talk about how that transition's happened for you this year and a little bit over at the end of last year.
Yeah, no, it's difficult, that's for sure. Trying to do it the hard way. We're just working the shop every day, just trying to basically work for opportunities. That stuff doesn't really come up much. Luckily, we have a good supporter, Laredo Trailer Supply, Homer, and over in Laredo, Texas, that helps us out tremendously. Whenever we need it and all that. But no, it's difficult. It's a grind. Every week we're constantly trying to figure out what is next, and we don't have the luxury to just write checks and say here and where, and so it's a it's more work than anything. The 4 races or what we're trying to do this year has probably been more work than running a full season of dirt racing. So, but
Yeah.
just trying to get a solid run in before the end of the year and try to keep the supporters happy.
How hard is that for you, Memphis? I know that we've talked to Logan Bearden about this before, to where he's working in the shop and doing whatever, and it gets down to race week, and you're like, shit, man. I mean, I wish I was putting my seat in there. One of those things. I mean, to kind of have to take a back seat. I mean, and be somebody that's working on somebody else's car when I mean, I'm not saying that. Well, I am saying you're probably more talented than whatever driver's getting in that vehicle. But how hard is that part for you? Where it's like, shit,
Oh,
man, I want to be in that truck, car, whatever it is.
yeah, no, it's difficult. Just like you said, it's funny you say that. I mounted a seat today in a truck for one of our trucks for
Oh
racing coming up, and
shit.
it's just like, it's like, man, I wish I could have this opportunity, but it is what it is at the end of the day. Like I said, doing it the hard way isn't really
Hmm.
the way to do it these days, and like I said, not fortunate enough just to have a huge bank account to write checks. So, but no, it's tough, but it's what makes those moments when you finally get in the truck or whatever it may be so much more rewarding. But it's like the races we had. It seems like it's the worst days ever. Because you work so hard for it, and you
Yeah,
run like crap or whatever. But at the end of the day, it could always be worse. So.
that's right. That's right.
So without giving away speed secrets, working with the trucks, what's the one thing that you've been like, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen? This is not something I would have thought about doing either on my old pavement car or my old dirt car. Is there anything that you could share that you just had like that aha moment, like, holy shit, that's amazing?
Yeah, no, I don't know if I can share, but there's some stuff we definitely kind of learned some things from. Like this weekend in Montgomery, went to go run the modify. That I tried a bunch of different stuff with it. Like just setup wise, that I think we could have been better. And I think with Killer, I wish we could have ran the race. Our pace was crazy good on the long run during practice. So hopefully we can take some more tricks to Houston and get us a trophy.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be one. Now that we come to that, I mean, when that Terry McCool #5 shows up, I mean that's always a fast ride right there. Kind of talk about that. I've been kind of pushing and nudging and kind of trying to piss people off to show up, but I think the whole thing is when we get guys like you and some of the other names that I've heard. I mean, maybe it's only going to be 10 or 11 or 12 or whatever. But I think, I mean, with yourself included and some of the other folks, I mean, man, I think it's going to be the cream of the crop. Kind of give us your thoughts as we go into this race at H&P.
Yeah, no. First of all, I just thank Terry for giving me the opportunity to drive his race cars. It's an amazing deal.
Mhm.
It's he gives me an amazing opportunity to drive really fast cars, and lets me do some things to them, and do our own thing to them, and figure it out ourselves type of thing. But no, I wish that race earlier this month would have got going, because that was a stout field of cars, and I
Dude.
hope a lot of those guys come back, because I think it would be an amazing race.
Yeah, I think so too.
We're definitely gonna have to work for that one. That's for sure.
So what's the goals for Houston other than coming in, kicking ass, taking names, get back on the plane with the trophy? What's the goal for this weekend? Just having a good time, seeing friends, seeing family before you go back to North Carolina?
Yeah, no, it's always good to see friends and family. I think a lot of my families need to come up to Houston and watch us race. Get to see my old buddies Max and JD. Try to beat their cars. That's always the goal. But no, it's been a minute. It was awesome to go down and practice. We only got a practice day in Houston. It's awesome just to go to that racetrack. That track, it seems like every time I go back there, it ages just a little bit more. It makes it a little more difficult. So no, I can't wait. It should be a fun one.
It's all them damn floods and hurricanes they have. It's like in between every race, there's been a hurricane. So yeah, it's getting beat up. So besides this one, I mean, anything in cement, Memphis, as to what you may have next. I mean, whether it be a truck race or some of the other stuff, maybe coming back to Texas at some point, some dirt stuff. Anything that you can tell us that you may be doing after this.
Yeah, we're gonna run the Terry McCool 5 Pro Late model at Pensacola and Mobile for the doubleheader they have here. I think next month or later on this month. I hardly even know what I'm doing tomorrow, but I know we're doing that. Um, so yeah, no, we'll run this, have an off weekend, and then go back for the doubleheader. Really looking forward to that. So hopefully we get to have some dirt races. We've been trying to figure out when we could put that thing back together and maybe do some dirt racing, or find somebody that let me hop behind the wheel of something. But no, we're looking forward to it. I think hopefully we got a busy rest of the year.
Hey Memphis, I want to give you some props there, man. I saw your interview post race over there at Mobile, and I thought that the most shocking moment that had ever happened at Mobile was the time when Max had won, and I started interviewing him in Spanish, and the people were like, whatever. But it was like when you had your interview, and people were freaking out. I'm like, what's the big deal here?
Yeah, yeah,
Calm
no,
down.
yeah, no, I think everybody knows I'm a race car driver, and that's what I am. I have a lot of passion and fire. That's what I always tell everybody. Every time I get behind the wheel, it's an audition. I'm trying to
Mhm.
do this for a living. I want to win everything, want to be the best I can, and just, you know, it's just fired up.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, Bobby. Had to throw that in.
Oh no, I remember because I text you back and forth. And we were like, "Oh wow, look at that."
Yeah.
Well, dude, best of luck this weekend. We'll look forward to seeing you. I still need to talk to your dad about some batteries for my golf cart rebuild that I'm doing. So,
That's right.
I get a chance to talk to your dad a little bit more about some batteries I need. But yeah, we're both heading up to be down there, and we'll look down there and try to have some cervezas with you. And after the races are over, maybe we can get some good food from Max while we're down there and have a good time.
That's right. That's what we're looking forward to.
Memphis says, you guys can drink all the beer you want. He's like, I'm a precision athlete. I ain't doing that shit. Y'all go ahead.
No, I'm not trying to have a headache on a plane ride home.
That's what I'm talking about. Good stuff, man.
Yep.
Thanks for hopping on. Looking forward to seeing you
Yep.
this weekend, and go get it, brother. Proud of what you're
Yep.
doing.
Thank you.
You bet. Take care. There he is, Memphis Virial. That dude right there. That is a wheel man, and it's really cool. When like for that, I know that's got to be tough because like for some of the, I mean, we've talked about it so many times on the program to where it's like you end up working in one of those shops, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm putting in a seat for, I don't know, you name the driver. And I can only imagine Memphis putting a seat in for me, for example. And it's like, boy, that sucks because he's like 58,000 times better than I am. And I'm going to be racing on Saturday. I mean, that sucks. That sucks.
Well, we've seen very rare occurrences. It's not impossible anymore, but you've seen very rare occurrences where talent ends up winning over money. Not very often, but it's those guys that are persistent. Like one of the guys is, like a Majeski kind of guy. He didn't have the most amount of money. He had some good backing there to get him to certain levels, but I think that it's getting the certain level is good, but then you got to maintain that level once you're there, right? Because we've seen guys that have gone up like the Caden Honeycutt that we compared Memphis to a lot. Is that when he made his opportunities in the trucks, especially when he got hooked up with Nice, every time he's in that truck, he makes the best of it, right? Memphis hadn't had the best of luck in some of the truck races, but he's in there trying to make the best of it, right? I think that's the key is, like he said, you're always auditioning. So, got to give it your best foot forward every single time you're in one of those trucks or in one of the race cars. Cause it's like our buddy last week said, somebody's always watching. Somebody is always watching. So like we said, clip that, go back and watch that cat from last week and pay attention to that interview.
And it's so funny that you mentioned about last week's show. Of course, last week I was in Dallas when I was doing that one there from the hotel. I was actually down there doing some stuff for David Starr at his on track Team Texas driving school, and it was really David. I mean, David is just such a great speaker. I mean, and David, there's not any notes. There's not. David is very much like this program. It's just very much off the cuff. David tells his story. He just talks, and he does a really good job with that. And one of the things that he was talking about the next day on Tuesday, as he was talking to a bunch of corporate people doing, they're all sitting there and they're like, David starts telling his story, and he's like, I know right now that the sport has changed so much that you have folks that bring in all this money. He says, so when I go to a race, like he had been in Indianapolis a week before, he's like, we finished 24th. I think that we probably should have finished 18th or 19th just based on different scenarios. And one of the things that I thought was so powerful that David mentioned, and this is just kind of differentiating today's young drivers versus guys like David Starr that still do this. He's like, if I finish a race and I'm 15th to 11th, I want to go straight to victory lane because that's a win for us. That's a win for our team. These other teams may have a $15-20 million budget, and we're trying to do it with just a couple of million, which is crazy to say just a couple of million. But that's where this sport is so different. And like for Memphis, every time that he gets behind the wheel of a truck, I mean, Logan Bearden and Bailey Curry's kind of gotten past that point to where he's got the more solidified ride right there with Nice. But I mean, these guys are always auditioning. And I think it's super important in the sense where I was hoping that Memphis would get to race this past weekend at Montgomery, because if you can go out and win a Modifieds of Mayhem race, that's something that inner workings of NASCAR and ARCA and all that, they're watching that series. You win those races, those things are very important.
Yeah, I mean, winning races is important. We've talked to plenty of owners over the course of both shows over the number of years, and they always say everybody wants a winner.
Mm-hmm.
But what they look at is the total package of a winner.
Yep.
It's not always are you winning races, but are you contending? When you moved up, did you contend again? When you switched the vehicle, did you contend again? Winning is important, and winning helps solve a lot of problems in any sport: basketball, baseball, football, racing. Winning solves a lot of problems, but it's how well you take care of your equipment. If you go in and plow through a bunch of guys to pick up the W, the owners are going to be like, nah, probably not so much. Now, if you take the same owner a great big check, they maybe turn a blind eye to that. But if you're a scrapper trying to make it, when you come through and you tear up a field to try to get the W, that's something totally different. So I mean, it's they look at the total package. That's why these young guys and even these older guys, Josh Berry caught the eye of Dale Jr. and got in a really good situation running with Junior Motorsports in a late model program. Now
Mhm.
he's a cup driver, right? So there's a lot of people that end up having to have the opportunities. Somebody's always watching. It
Mhm.
may, it just may take one ride to get a lucky break, and it may take 10 times to get a lucky break. Some guys never catch a lucky break, but they're going to break their back trying.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt about it. And that's one of the other things that David was talking about, where he was talking more to the young about the younger type of driver, because somebody asked him about younger drivers, and David is like, what gets younger drivers in trouble, and this kind of totally take this back to Memphis, the interview we just had, and we'll reclip this and push it back out, is the sense of, he's like, you got to be able to speak. You got to be a good spokesperson for your company, for your racing operation. And he said it's okay to have that emotion, like Memphis did at Mobile. And I mean, if you go back and listen to that, it really wasn't that big of a deal. And if you go back and listen to Mobile this past week, somebody else went over there and did it a hell of a lot more than Memphis did. But it was one of those things to where it's like corporate people are looking at this to where it's like, they want people that are going to come out and they're not going to make an ass out of themselves. They're not going to, if you do it on the track, when somebody comes up and puts this thing in your face, you can fix that. I mean, the actions that are going to happen on the track, they're going to happen on the track. But I mean, it's how you carry yourself. It's how you acknowledge your sponsors, your people, and all of that. And I think that's where it's so important these days to where you do have to figure out how to tone it down. I mean, pull yourself back, get pissed off later. I mean, and then just get over it, and just get over it. And that's where Memphis, to me, and that's where I take a lot of pride, Bobby. You know this as much as I do. I think you do as well. It's guys that we have brought on this program, because obviously this thing's been on forever, and to watch them. We can go back and pull a Memphis Virial clip from, I don't know when the first time we had him on was,
4 or
and
5
it
years
was
ago,
like,
probably. Yeah.
yeah. And now he comes on here, and it's like it's like talking to a cup guy, because he's just so good. We don't prepare anybody for any question on here, especially him. It's harder with him because we're coming at him. Cars Tour, he doesn't race on the Cars Tour. And what's the first thing we ask him? What do you think about the Cars Tour? Answered it good, or answered it well. Very important. Very important.
No, it's like they said, somebody's always watching.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's pretty crazy. Hell, somebody's always watching this. We never know who's going to pop in and may want to syndicate us. Maybe boss from Sirius XM's watching and says, "Hey, those guys are great. We want to put you on the air." Doesn't mean that
Yep.
they're listening, but you never know who's listening at all. We learned that a long time ago with the old station. You never know who's going to listen, whether it's a good situation or a bad situation. You never know who's listening.
Yeah. Before we go to Chris Carroll, my man Big Carl, looking forward to seeing you this weekend, brother. Is Bubba not getting a ride over talent? Is getting a ride over talent over money? People seem to forget, and I mention this time after time. I remember Bubba Wallace winning dirt races and trucks, and everybody thought that he was like the great. I mean, that he was really going to be whatever. Here's the other part of it. He does not have, and everybody can feel free to disagree with me all you want, but this is where you get into a situation where it comes to with Bubba Wallace. Yes, he doesn't have 10, 12, whatever wins in the Cup Series, but what Bubba Wallace does, for whatever reason, it matters not the reason. What Bubba Wallace does is that people want to sink money into him. McDonald's, what's the food delivery thing? Uber or
DoorDash.
DoorDash. Those people want to put money into him. Is it because he's African American? Maybe, but you know what? Good for him. I mean, it's people that want to do that. And that's the other part. When I go back to what David's talking about on Tuesday, last Tuesday, it's like there may be somebody that's a little more talented, but if somebody's going to put money into somebody, that's what it takes. And Bubba, I mean, a lot of the shit he does, I'm like, dude, come on. I mean, just come on, just be better with that. The whole thing is, I mean, yes, doesn't have all the race wins, but the guy is somewhat consistent. I mean, you have to admit the guy is somewhat consistent. And at one point in short track racing, whether you want to admit it or not, people thought that he was going to be a really great short track driver moving forward.
Well, it happens. Somebody's always watching. I think that's the theme of the show tonight. You never know who's watching. He got a chance to get a good ride with Jack Roush and didn't totally turn out the way he wanted it to, but he persevered. And look at him now, driving for Michael Jordan, the most recognizable sports figure on the planet.
Yep. Yeah, that's the whole thing about it, man. You got to be in the right place at the right time, and that's exactly what he's been able to do. And folks are like, throw him out of the car. I don't think he's going to get thrown out of that car. And now he's going to be a dad. So if you want to see the softening of Bubba Wallace, it's only going to get better. It's only going to get better. And McDonald's is going to love that. All those sponsors are going to love that. So, but that is the case. I mean, maybe not the best talent. I think we could probably name a lot of people around the country that may have better talent and could be suited better to be in that 2311 car, but it just so happens that he's one. So anyway, well, that's always open for debate. We can always have that conversation. Let's jump back over here. Oh man, he's got his hands on his chin. So he is he is already thinking right there. It is our man, Chris Carroll. We had him on probably about a month and a half ago. We were kind of talking about some modified racing and talking about the Stems Tour, which we will do once again this evening. But wanted to bring him on for some more special stuff that we'll talk about in just a second. Chris, how you doing, man?
Doing great, man. Doing great. I'm all in on the, everybody looking for talent. I'm 53 years old. I'm still looking for that ride. I'm going for it. No, hell no. But I agree with you guys 100% on this. That there's always somebody watching and always somebody going to criticize you or give you another ride. So I'm always looking for another great driver to step in one of our cars for sure.
Nice.
So Chris, talk about your season so far, dude. You've had some pretty good runs. Cotton Bowl, not as good as I think you wanted, but I don't think Cotton Bowl was good for a lot of people actually. But
yeah, no,
your season so far, man.
Not,
it's been pretty good. You got a couple of W's.
Not at all. I'll tell you this right now, man. We found in Texana, we found that car. And so I went to Corpus and I made some changes going, oh, no, I want my car back, and so I went back and we went back to the drawing board and we went and, we got rained out at I-37. The car was there again. And so I was like, okay, I'm not doing shit to this car. We're going to unload it the way we did at Texana. And sure enough, the car just loved it. I would have never thought that setup worked in 3 different places for damn sure, and we unloaded and I went out and just stepped all over it. You know what I mean? Because it was, we just in the heat race, it was funny because when I do a lineup, I don't see I don't look who's in my race because I'm not racing the guy. I'm racing me because I'm 53 years old. So I just want to be able to finish a damn race, So I do not look at the lineup. My wife tells me where I go and that's it. I really don't look at it. And so when I'm out there, I'm out in the front, I'm jumping out and I got this lead. Now look up and Ricky Long is up there, which owns Jared Maupin's car. I didn't even know Jared was in my damn race. He's got his arms spread out 2.5 miles wide. And he's, and I'm thinking he's talking to me and he was talking to Jared. So I kind of just backed out of that a little bit because I was really driving that car hard at the beginning of that race. And sure enough, then here comes Cody Leonard and he passes me, going into 1 and 2 on the white flag. And I'm like, holy crap. And so luckily I was able to, go in and diamond the track and I got him by, I think, a couple of inches. But anytime you can do that with Cody Leonard or Jared Maupin, or Morris or anything, I'm happy, guys. I'm 53 years old racing with these young dudes, and it's a lot of fun. Now I got a good piece of equipment, but I think I could do it in my 2011 car too. So we had a good race, and then the main event comes along, and oh my God, I went in there and the first lap, I'm telling you guys, I didn't even see that rut. know I could hit something that damn hard and still be conscious. I mean, it picked me up, threw me into Cody Leonard, and we wheel hopped, and immediately I go as high as I can. I turn towards the wall, not down back into traffic, because I don't want to be no part of what's coming. I got 21 cars coming up my butt.
Yep.
And I think Dinsmore, he got into the back of me a little bit and got my side a little bit, and I didn't nothing. Luckily, we didn't really have much damage when we hit Cody, and then Rick Green goes in the corner, which is my teammate, and he just waylays the 18 car and gets us a caution. And guys, I'm telling you right now, I didn't believe him when he told me that his brakes went out.
That's the oldest excuse in the book right there.
It is, but I wish I should have sent you a picture so you could have put it up on the screen, because the next day I called him and I said, hey, did God fix your brakes yet? And he goes, what do you mean? I said, did God fix your brakes in the car? That's miraculously, your brakes are fixed, And he was pissed off at me, of course, and he should be. And sure enough, he sent me a picture of it. And when he hit the wall in the heat race, we were in such a scramble to get that car back together. We didn't look at brakes. We didn't look at anything. We were repairing the front of the car, and he had spun it in the heat race. And that's what, and he didn't realize that's why the car didn't set, and he went into the wall. And sure enough, man, he spun that caliper on the right rear, and it just ripped that brakes in half. And he got the 18 car, and man, it was, the rest of the race was just mayhem from there. Cody got out with me, and I was pacing him just fine. I could have, I was able to stay with him, but with all the scramble, I didn't put any setup on the car. If I would have watched that track, I'd have changed my right rear shock and did a little different shock package so we could have at least competed in through the ruts. I didn't even look at it. It was crazy. It was one of the worst tracks we had all year, but it wasn't their fault at all. It was rain, and everybody knows we all race the same surface, so it's irrelevant. It's my tail to tail. I should have put a different shock package on for that race, so I was pretty much racing around ruts, and we were still fast. I mean, I was really, really happy with the way the car was running, and I was happy that. When I watched, I didn't watch it until later on, the replays, and the car was really fast. So, and I had a little something for Cody at the end. I thought if we could have got a yellow to go our way, but unfortunately the yellows were not really good. Cody, he jumped that start, but in his defense, man, I'm going to tell you right now, he just got out of a track. He just got off of another race that you start on the back straightaway. And I didn't even think nothing.
That's what I wanted to ask you, because that's hard. I mean,
absolutely,
Chris, I'm sure that you've probably gone back and listened to some of the Race Ranch stuff, and it's like the lights go off. And from my time at Cotton Bowl, I'm like, okay, leader's gonna go whenever, and I'm like, actually, no, he can't. That's not that's not the way. Kind of break that down in your opinion, as not being one of those two dudes.
Man, when Cody, I personally like the back straightaway rule. It breaks it up, and it makes 1 and 2 better. We don't have the chaos that we normally have on a turn 4, take start. So I like that rule, but in our particular race, when Cody did that, I said, well, shit, let's go. And it caught Jared off, caught me off. Everybody was surprised. But we're all watching the same. We're already watching. We're already intent on Cody. I mean, me and Jared were already hiked up. We were ready to go. The guys behind us, obviously not. But, and then, so we take off. We get one lap in, and Chris, me and Chris, we've had a lot of history over the last, couple of 5 years or so. But when he dumped down and he got into my door. I just stopped on the track. I'm done getting spun or getting wrecked by, him. So I hate it for everybody else and the damage that it caused, and I was saving my car. Then we get they warn Cody over the radio at that particular moment. They warn him over the radio, and I promise you, me and Jared were both like, well, whatever, man. We've been racing a long time, and I know how hard that job is for these promoters to try to get that crap right, and especially a flagman. And then the STEM series, they're brand new, so his dad's got a lot of racing experience, but not a lot of leadership. Officiating. I don't know. Officiating. Right. And it is what it is, and honestly, it wasn't even really controlled chaos. The racers, it was a buildup. I think that Cotton Bowl was a buildup of 11 races. I think that everybody has worked on their cars and has put a shit ton of effort into this series. And we were all out of control, in my opinion. I knew what I was doing. Jared knew what he was doing. Rick Green, he was out. So, and Cody Leonard, dude, in my professional opinion on this subject, he was the biggest damn loser on this deal. I still give Cody the win, even though, my whole thing that happened between me and the STEM series is that when they went back to that 3 laps, when they took 3 laps out of that race, when I finished that race, I was 2 points out of the win, out of the point series at the end of the year after dropping races. Because I had every point scenario in my head going into this race, where I needed to finish, what I needed to do, how I needed to do it. And that's good, because that's a good design on points and for good racing. And I knew that I was only, right now I'm only sitting 2 points out of Ryan Doyen, the way it finished. And they gave them all their spots back. But if Chris and Ryan would have finished 15th and 17th, I would be leading by 6 and out 2 at the end of the year right now. So I had to finish, I'd have to be consistent the rest of the year. But I was racing out of a deficit from the first 2 races of the season when I was taken out by, so anyways, but that was then, this is now. And so, yes, to me, I wanted a 3rd place finish, and those guys finished 14th or 15th and 17th. To Jared Maupin, he wanted the 1st, and to Cody Leonard, he wanted 1st. And that's the breakdown of the whole situation. My mouth has always gotten the better of me sometimes, because that's what I do. And, so it is 100%. It is what it is, guys. And, I've got a lot more to lose. I race for these guys. I race for the veterans. And I literally am absolutely 1,000% relieved, period. I love it. I love that I'm racing for these guys, and it puts it in, oh man, I can't tell you guys how much it puts it in perspective. When I put the helmet on, that's a whole different story. That's all race car drivers. They put a helmet on, and shit goes out the window. Your brain cells, they're not sitting there anymore. They're sitting down in, somewhere else. But yeah, I mean, it is, and everybody, that's running the STEM series, the 2 guys, it is a big task, man. And those guys, I'm proud of them for what they're doing, without a shadow of a doubt. And I would love for anybody in this audience to reach out and help those guys if they need some extra help and a hand, to help officiate and to, just to make Jacob and his dad more successful. I believe I don't want anything bad to happen to this sport. I want it to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. I love the sport. It's been great to me over the years. That's Cotton Bowl, guys. And that's all I can say about the breakdown on that. And Jacob, and be honest with you guys, I can't imagine racing in a series that I have to get out of the freaking car and then take an ass chewing
Oh,
No, thank you, guys.
that's horrible.
And I just, and Jacob, I understand. Hey, hell, his helmet was turned backwards too. You know what I mean? It was.
Mhm.
I guarantee it was. I
Mhm.
think we lapped Jacob on lap 8 or 9. I'd have to go back to the film to look at it. That pisses every race car driver off.
Mhm.
I'm
Yep.
sorry. You can't help that. When you get lapped, you're a mad dude. I am.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, how do I hide on the freaking racetrack? Where'd I go? Get away from being lapped, And I've been lapped by great guys. I mean, Ricky Thornton, we're in Arizona. Ricky Thornton lapped me with like 5 to go. And I stepped it up and passed the guy because I'm like, nope, I don't care if you're the leader or not. I can't let Ricky Thornton lap me.
And the bad thing is, Chris, there's a lot of times in my career I've been lapped by bad guys. I mean, not bad, but not the best guys. And that's where I'm like, all right, I'm pulling off.
Yeah.
I'm like, but you don't do that. I mean,
No,
you cherish every lap because those laps, you never get them back. Like right now, I see you guys racing, and I'm like, God damn, I wish that I could, have a few more laps. And it's hard. It's hard when that stuff happens.
And that's what got me back into this. Is with CW Warriors. I knew I had a reason to race. Otherwise I'm going to be pissed off every week that I'm getting older and I can't do it as well as I could. And I'm telling you guys, I was very upset after Cotton Bowl, and my veterans, every last one of them, picked me up and put it back in perspective for me. And that's a fact, man. I mean, it was, I'll tell you what, it was a bad deal. I'm a little bit disappointed in IMCA, and I'm going to call them out publicly because they 100% passed the ruling down without ever speaking to me. And I'm not sure why we pay IMCA for the ability for them to make judgment calls on somebody without talking to them or without doing their due diligence. Their appeal process is absolutely freaking asinine. Absolutely. And I'm calling them out, guys. And so and don't get me wrong, I know the president of IMCA, and he was very frank and very open with me and a very gracious listener. But
nice.
At the end of the day, it went nowhere. And it didn't matter how well you listen. And he just flat out told me that it is 100% the track's decision. That's why they write that at the end of the rule book, that it is their decision is final. And I said, well, my exact question to him was, well, who fights for the racer?
Yeah.
Because I'm not saying that Jacob did the wrong thing at the moment. I'm not saying that he did the right thing. I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying is that there is more than one layer to a story and more than one layer to the truth, and the truth be told, there's only 2 people on that racetrack that when that happened that knows the truth, and that's me and Morris, and that's fine. And we can leave it at that. But I was definitely I don't think I was treated properly when it comes to the whole process. But at the end of the day, it's Jacob's and John's series, and man, I appreciate them.
That's right.
I appreciate the work that they put out. I appreciate every part of it, and it is their decision, and I'm going to own that, and they're going to own it, and we're going to go out and support the hell out of them this weekend and do it again.
That's right. That's right.
But that's where I stand with that. And, I know you guys don't get to talk much when I come on. I'm sorry.
Well, I just want to know more about that Chevy
truck
you've been standing in front of.
That's okay.
Yeah. You want to know more about what?
I want to know more about that Chevy truck you've been standing in front of on the videos. That's what I want to know about.
Oh man, I'm so excited. There you go, guys. There you go. I tell you what, man. I looked at last year. I don't know if y'all saw last year, but we gave away a 1955 4-wheel drive barn find at our car show. and Aaron Letty won that truck. A racer. He bought 2 tickets at I-37, and we sold 700 tickets of that truck, or 780 tickets for that truck last year. And Aaron Letty won that truck. And so I was like, man, how do we even get close to something that cool this year? And so we found this truck in San Antonio, and it came out of West Texas, and it's got a really good pedigree, and the truck is just solid and fun. I'm really excited to give that one away. It's $50 a ticket. You can go on. If you can't find me on Facebook right now, y'all are not looking. So,
yeah,
I'm still there. I'm missing you.
Yeah.
I can't see you, but
we got you. We got you.
I love that ride, and we're giving away a pit bike for second place, and then an electric bike. I gotta give everybody the electric too. So, that way, I don't know if y'all have ever ridden an electric bike around the pits. That's the only way to fly when you're at Coda or you're out on the asphalt, out of the paddock, and you can just get around real easy on an electric bike. And I'm too old to pedal. So, but,
so Chris, I'm sorry, Chris. So talk about this whole event. I mean, it's going to be November 10th. And we're pulling up the graphic right there. I mean, it's not only that. I mean, it's something to where you can not only win that and win really, really cool prizes like you're talking about, but I mean, what this is a Sunday. The first, or I guess first or second weekend in November that you guys are going to do out there in Spring Branch, which is a really good place to go and just kind of hang out. I mean, it's a really cool, cozy place. I think
go ahead.
Weather's going to be better. This is a family event that you guys are doing right here.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah. We had over 1,000 people show up last year, man. And we had 100 cars. We're going to cap it at 150 cars this year.
Damn.
We're going to try to get Harley Davidson to sponsor a bike run in the morning, but we're going to have a band, which is Quincy Todd. If you never heard of those guys, they are awesome, man. And live music, we got a tattoo artist coming out again. We got wine, from Foyt Winery, AJ Foyt's winery is coming out there.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be serving wine. And last year we were going to split proceeds, and they're so cool, man. They just gave it all to us. It was really an awesome deal. So, but it was hands down from the time we started it at 7:30 in the morning, just setting up. We had cars showing up, and people were just enjoying the festivities all day long. There was something to do. We got, it's just a blast, man. I mean, I can't even, it's so fun to watch the celebration of the veterans and everybody just coming out and supporting them. And then to watch the cars show up, man. We had dragsters out there. We had 4-wheel drives, because there's no specific car in this world that I love. And I just love them all. So the cars were incredible. We had just so much support for the first one. And I'm telling you guys, the vendors need to finish signing up now, because we're not going to have spots left. We're not going to have all the cars to be taken. And hopefully we sell all the tickets out so I can give that truck away again to, we did it live with Aaron Letty last year. And he goes, "Are you serious?" He goes, "I didn't even fill out the ticket." And so, yeah, so it was fun, man. It really was. But yeah, we got a sound man that the sound man, which is sound man for Al Duro and George Benson.
Wow.
And he's a really close friend of mine. He's doing the sound for these guys again. He put his PA system up there last year. So he's got a 1951 Chevy, and we took and mounted the soundboard in the back of his truck.
Nice.
Yeah, it was cool, man. So it's just a lot of fun, dude. And the kids, and I mean, people were running around everywhere. And Jumbo Evans, I don't know if y'all been out there yet, but it's on 281, but it's a sports complex.
Mm-hmm.
So you got tennis, you got baseball, you got all that. But that time of the year, they don't have anything going, and they allowed us to come out and do it. And we were the first car show ever at Jumbo Evans. So we're hopefully we get to stay the only car show out there. So
that's great, man.
We're going to continue doing it.
I love it.
anyways, there's some, I wrote some stuff down. Do y'all mind?
No, go ahead.
Yeah. The first one is Owen Pittman. So I want everybody to send some love to that man and just tell him how much we appreciate him over the years of everything he's doing and everything he's going to do with us, for us. So everybody knows what Owen's going through right now. And I think that we need to really stand behind him and get anything he needs. Let's do it.
Yeah, Chris, that I've actually known about that for a while.
Yeah.
It was kind of one of those things to where, in confidence, he came to me and he's like, "Here's what's going on," and I mean, I really think that's something. I mean, I check it. That's a weird thing where it's kind of gone different with he and I, to where like this weekend for Houston. We would be back and forth about what are we doing here and all this, that, and the other. But I mean, I reached out to him Friday, and I'm like, "Bro, check in. How we doing?"
Exactly.
And he'll reply with the Houston shit, and I'm like, I don't really. That's not what I'm calling you about. That's not why I'm messaging you. I want to talk about you. And that really is, and I got to tell you, Chris, I mean, it's something where I'm going to give you TMI right here, is that all that happened, and I've known about this for Owen for a little bit, and we do some stuff on my daily show that I do on Texas Sports Unfiltered. I scheduled a colonoscopy today. Okay. I'm like,
yeah.
I know that's gross.
No, it's not. It ain't gross. Not at our age, it ain't gross shit.
Hey, y'all's age, that's part of it. Don't worry about it. They put you to sleep. It's all good.
Wow.
No, is that it? You've had one?
Unfortunately, I had to have one about 6 months ago. So they put you to sleep. So you don't even know anybody's back there.
I had one at 13. I had one at 13, and they didn't put me to sleep. And at 13, and man, God. Yeah, I was, and I'm telling you right now, no. No. Yeah, no. That's all I remember is no.
Yeah, but no, that's a great point, and folks do, and I know, and I do want to mention this because I know we were going to talk about it later, but since you brought it up, Chris, everything with Texana, right. And I know that was going to be a lot there with that, and it didn't. A lot of that coincides. I mean, it's a lot that what he's trying to do right there. And I think, Chris, I don't know if you have this in your stuff, but I think folks need to jump on and help out Cord Beard, because
absolutely
that place needs to be doing something.
Yeah, I nominate Cody. I'm telling you guys, we really do. So Cody Hartage, and I talked to him. He's going for his master's degree. So I don't know if anybody knew that about Cody Hartage, that he's really, really freaking smart. But yeah, he's going to be pissed that I said it. But yeah, he's going for his master's degree, and I really did. I said, man, what can we do? Because we don't want that track to go away. My grandkids literally live 30 minutes away from there, and I enjoy going there. Bobby got to meet him last time we were out there. He got to run his go-kart for the first time, and Colin, my son, won his first championship there in a car. So I mean, nice. It means a lot to me, that track, and I do believe that we can help Cord out and move it forward. And that was on my list of things here that I've got, and that was Bobby. I didn't want him to lose his gig there because shit.
Yeah,
that's a fun one. So
yep,
and but yeah, also we got
sure.
We got 366 Motorsports, guys. They're putting one of our veterans in their car. I don't know if you guys, I think you met Travis Green, Bobby, when you were out there.
I did.
Yeah, he's a Marine. He's lost both of his legs. And 366 Motorsports and Chris Workman they're putting together a car with controls and get him in there, a Fireball car or a stock car. But y'all look those guys up, and they're trying to figure it out, and I'm all in on their program too to help them get there, because they're they're willing to put our guys in those cars, and we love that. And then coming up in Rocket, we got that 10,000 to win.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Jared Maupin's going to be driving my orange 15 car, the one that I made this weekend. So
that's breaking news right there.
Yeah. So anyways, and we're going to have two CW Warrior cars out there. Michael Walker's coming out of retirement. The reason he's been in retirement because his kids are racing every damn weekend, and man, you talking about a schedule. Those guys, they make us look like amateurs. But he's coming out of retirement. So we're going to have one in the Open. We're going to have CW Warriors in the Open, and we're going to have CW Warriors in the IMCA car, and Jared's going to drive for me. Also, we got Rick Green. He's going to Rocket, and we're going to get his car in the shop. We're going to get him put back together, and he's going to find his way this year, guys. He's had a tough year, so I don't know if y'all been paying attention. But
he's a grinder too, man. That guy, he's done it a long time.
I see the frustration in his eyes, and he's seeing our success, and he's seeing, and
that sucks.
He's on Jared mopping shocks. So I'm on Jared's stuff too. So Jared's not just a good race car driver. That boy is absolutely a freaking genius. Behind. Yeah, he really is. Him and his dad fight a lot about setup, but man, he knows his shit, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. So
he does.
I don't let him tell me nothing. I just say do it, and
have at it.
Have at it. So he be honest with you, when he gets in my cars, he don't ever ask. He just goes and drives the piss out of them, and and y'all know he wins in my stuff. So we're really excited about that 10,000 in Rocket because
hey Chris, are you guys doing anything with the Lone Star 600? I know that's moving over to 105. Totally different element right there, but man, I think that'd be a great event for you guys to.
I have not even thought about it because our schedule has been with the car show, and I don't know if you've ever looked at my schedule on cwwarriors.org. It's crazy, dude. And we were going to take this weekend off because of all the incidents and everything that happened. And guess what? We're not. We're going to I-37. We're going to have a Fireball car. Jeff Walker, that's on my list here. Jeff Walker, the W and CWR Warriors, is coming out of retirement. So y'all don't think I'm in that car. But Jeff Walker's coming out of retirement, and luckily there's no pace cars going to be out there, so there's one less thing for him to hit, and we're really excited. We're really excited to get him back in the seat, and but it's really what I'm more excited about is Jeff has a shop down in the Rio Grande Valley down in Edinburgh, and now that he's got this car and he's got everything, we're going to have veterans in his shop, and he's already started working, with guys, and so it's just a big, it's starting to go bigger, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, the last race I think we had, I probably 18 to 24 guys out at the racetrack, and it was, and some of the veterans just came and they didn't realize that they were open. All they got to do is say they're with me, and we got them in, we got them covered.
Love it.
And they went in the regular stands. So let's see. We got a new marketing partner, which you guys are going to like this one. So, and it just happens to be Jared Moppin. He is opening his own company. You've heard it here first. So I got it. I got an okay with him before we came on that he's coming. What he's doing is he's opening it's called Moppin Layout Service. And what they do is he goes out onto a construction site and he lays out the foundation with GPS.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and he can do all the plumbing spots, everything. He can lay that out with his GPS. You want to know where your house is really going to be. You want to see exact spots. That's what Jared Moppin is going to do. And he's
awesome.
He should have everything 100% complete within the next 2 weeks. And he'll start marketing that company. And you will see that on the race car.
That's great.
Yeah. That kid is phenomenal, man. And
y'all
know that. I don't have to tell you.
No.
So, and
does he need a sales guy? Does he need a sales guy?
As a matter of fact, he does. When we get off the air tomorrow, let's get together. But that's part of the marketing strategy that I want to put together and help him get going is sales. And that's everything. Everybody knows marketing and sales is everything. That goes back to the race car drivers that get the big rides and the race car drivers that don't. Your Bubba Wallace, he's got a marketing, he's got a publisher, he's got everything.
Michael
that
Waltrip,
Michael
that
Waltrip.
dude.
Yeah,
You know,
there you go.
when people talk about it, it's like, well, the guy was no good. Well, you know what? Napa loved him. I mean,
Right.
everybody loved him. Aaron's loved him. I mean, the guy
Right.
kept his ride. Yeah.
Well, it goes back, dude, is that if you can get, I teach guys all the time this, that, they try to market and do this big, broad scheme of marketing things. And I tell them straight up, how many people live in your subdivision? They go, oh, about 350. I said, get everybody in your subdivision on board. If you can get everybody in your subdivision on board, you can't do any more work because there's only 365 days in a year.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
right.
and it's that simple. A lot of guys go too big. If you have the ability to scale, then scale it. But you don't need a lot of customers to make good money as a young entrepreneur. And, you know this, it's sales. It's sales and marketing, man. And and I honestly, Jared, I think the whole thing with Jared is, he wants to race. And if he can't dictate his schedule, he can't race, as many nights as he wants to. I can't even, I call him up and what are you doing? I'm working out. What are you doing? I'm working. What are you doing? I'm working on shocks. What are you doing? He's just crazy, man. It's awesome. I remember being that young once.
Yeah. Right. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
But so, Bobby, how's your dad?
He's better. He's on the mend.
Okay.
Still a long way to go, but it's a little dire there on Friday night, Thursday night, Friday morning, but he's definitely up on the mend. Like the doctor said, we've made some significant improvements in momentum. We don't want to lose any of that. So I hadn't talked to him today. Obviously, I can't talk to him at all, but
Right.
I hadn't had a chance to go by and see him today, but I'll see him first thing in the morning. So
Good,
give
man.
everybody another update in the morning. But
Yeah,
so far, he's still keeping at it. So that's the
Good.
main thing. So
That's what it's all about. That is
Awesome.
what it's all about. Yes, sir.
Awesome. So what else, you guys? What are y'all dying to know about? What I screwed up or what I did wrong or did
No,
right?
Chris, that was the main thing. I just wanted to be sure and get that. I wanted to be sure and get the event, the November 10th event, in front of people. Kind of put that on the calendar because that's when we get towards the end of the year, and that's where folks are looking for stuff to do. And I mean,
Right.
what a better thing to do out there. I mean, like it says right there, with the prizes, the auction, the tattoos, wine, beer, vendors, food. I mean, that really is a good time for it's kind of one of those community events out there in a really cool spot. It's worth the drive, and it's worth the cause. And that's what I mean, like you were talking about a while ago. I was thinking about that when you were talking about everything with the racing. It's like you're so passionate about the racing, like we all are when we get behind the wheel.
Right.
But when it's all said and done, to you, this cause and events like this and bringing people together, you're a connector, and that's what you're all about. I mean,
Yes,
the racing thing, it's one thing. The racing
Right.
thing is one thing, but you do a service that I wish a lot of other people did, man. And proud to know you, man. I'm looking forward to that.
Thank you. Yeah, we talk about the nation, how divided everything is right now, and you got 50% of this world that likes you, 50% of it that don't like you, and guys, don't get hung up on the ones that don't like you. Because life's too short, man, and we're going to lose sleep over stuff like that. But get hung up on the guys that you can help, and get hung up on the guys that you can be around and that lift you up and move you forward. And because that's all we try to be. And sometimes I do a good job at it. Sometimes I do a really freaking bad job. So,
Shit happens, man. Shit
yeah,
happens.
yes, sir, it does. So
Every day is a brand new day, and I love how you tackle things. And man, it's a really cool thing. Really cool.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you.
Yes,
I
sir.
appreciate it. And thanks, guys, for having me on. And really, really, it means a lot. It means a lot to me having both you guys and being able to discuss these car shows and everything and really what's going on in our racing. And I love racing, guys. I promise you. That is, top of my love in my life, and but it does not define me. I promise you that. It's a way for me to use a God-given talent that God gave me to promote other things.
That's powerful right there. I mean, that's your tool. That's your tool.
Yes,
You
sir.
do a lot of other things through that, and that's a really good thing.
And and unfortunately, I mean, I've raced since I was 8 years old. I've raced BMX bikes or something. I've been, dirt bikes. It don't matter. I've raced it, and when I'm not racing on a Saturday night, I'm in trouble. I get in trouble. I drink too much, or or I've spent too much money, and we go out of town. We do whatever. Believe it or not, I think racing's cheaper than me sitting around.
I know.
Yes,
sure. I know.
Yes.
Yes, I totally understand.
Yeah,
my man. Good luck this weekend at 37.
All right. Thank you,
We'll
sir.
do it. We'll do it again soon as we get closer to the 10th, and make sure we get in front of a bunch of people for that show.
All right, man. I really appreciate it, guys. Thanks for putting us out there.
You got it, man. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Take care, Chris. See you.
See you later, Bob.
There he goes, Chris Carroll. Man, I'll tell you that his charge right there is just, and I think you know it as well as I do now with the whole, with the ins and outs of everything that they do with CWR. I think that man, because it is so hard for folks, and I know a lot of folks that have come out of the military, and years ago, Bobby, and they still have no path. And it's like, man, I wish that they had something like that they could have fallen into, that would have helped. And again, it doesn't solve the problem, but I mean, I think a lot of what it does, it's a distraction. It's a distraction for them, and it does some really good stuff.
Yeah, and it gives them a sense of purpose again. That's the same thing that you notice is when you're out of the team aspect of it, you're out of the military, you're by yourself and you get lonely. You get a chance to be part of a team again. You get a chance to be part of a mission.
Mm-hmm.
And realistically, CWR, the warrior aspect of it, is something bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
And so, the veterans know what the other veterans are going through, and that's what makes it a really good ecosystem, a really good community that Chris and the gang over there have got going with CWR Warriors. It's fun to be a part of. I'm glad he's asking us for help. So we'll help him any which way we can, as much as we can. So
absolutely, you bet you there. Not an issue there at all whatsoever. Friends, got to tell you about Cotton Bowl Speedway. They are off here for I guess a couple of weeks. They've got the finale coming up of the Summer Showdown Series. That's night number 3 coming up on August the 10th. They had a couple of back-to-backs right there. The point races have kind of tightened up, so they'll do it again. I guess it's week after next is when or weekend or Saturday, a week from Saturday, they'll get back out there and they'll settle that. And the cool part about that for our friends there at CBS is as they do that, I mean, it's kind of a race within a race right there, where we've seen some folks that have kind of shown up that maybe haven't been racing all year, but they want some of that money that's going to be a part of the 3-race series right there. And they've got really good sponsors that have jumped aboard. It's going to be a full card that happens right there. Summer Showdown Series night number 3. Hopefully the weather cooperates for them. They'll be able to get that night in, and never a bad time at Cotton Bowl. And I think that I kind of I know Marianne and HE are probably not the biggest fans of having the time off right there, but I think that that's going to set up really nicely for them when it comes to settle that extra pot, as we want to call it, in the Showdown Series.
Yeah, I think it's. I had a good time when I was out there a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, couldn't go out there the last race with the Stems race. Really wanted to go, but had obviously larger issues to tend to that weekend. So, but definitely always a good time. Marianne's a great host to us when we get a chance to go out there. Hell, she's a great host to everybody. She opens up the doors for everybody and helping hand when everybody needs it or when anybody needs it. So, always a fun time. If you still have not, for some reason, ever made it to Cotton Bowl Speedway, now's a good chance. Coming up on the 10th, I believe it's the 10th, is going to be the next chance to go to watch that finale. And it's back to school night. You can help give stuff for the school kids as they get ready to go back to school here pretty quickly. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then August 23rd, back there at CBS is going to be on-demand shirts night at the races. So, and that's going to be coming on as well at the South Texas Race Ranch. So ODS, one of our proud partners, doing those nights right there. So the official apparel, merch provider, whatever you want to call, of Cotton Bowl Speedway, of the HMP Oval, of CBS, all of that happening. That's August the 23rd will be that ODS night at the races. Speaking of ODS, how about we hear from our friends at On Demand Shirts in San Antonio? Shirts and OnDemandShirts.com. Custom apparel and promo products for every occasion. Birthday parties, reunions, company apparel, school events, fundraisers, and more. Much more than T-shirts. It is On Demand Shirts. Check them out for your hoodies, shirts, koozies, and so many different products. On Demand Shirts and OnDemandShirts.com, a leading innovator in apparel throughout the racing industry and in the state of Texas. On Demand Shirts, more than shirts. On Demand Shirts.
Welcome to the My Race Pass app, the #1 app for motorsports fans. We want to make sure you get the most out of your My Race Pass app experience. With your new free account, you can use the My Race Pass app to see race day information, including event entries and official lineups and results for over 600 organizations across North America. You can also see track information and purchase online event tickets for select tracks. With your free account, you can also search for a track or series on the My Race Pass app and favorite their profile to receive news and race day notifications on your mobile device. To see more information and to see which app subscription is best for you, be sure to visit getmrpapp.com. My Race Pass, the ultimate racing resource.
Hi, this is Tom McKay with Audiovisual Consultations.
And Camilla McKay.
Hey, kid, you want to hear a dad joke?
Sure, old man.
A guy walks into a flat... Oh, that was terrible. A guy walks into a store and buys an 85-inch flat screen for $2,500. I wasn't done with my joke yet.
Yeah, you were. Here, I got one. What's worse than paying for one overpriced surround sound speaker?
I don't know what.
Paying for two overpriced surround sound speakers?
All right, well, here at Audiovisual, we do like to laugh. And by calling 512-255-8678, you can share in that laughter. Stop paying extra for lesser quality and visit avconsultations.com today.
All right. You got me going now. One more.
All right, here we go.
A guy walks into a bar, and then a speaker, and then a projector.
All right. I think they get it, kid. Give us a call at 512-255-8678 or see us online at avconsultations.com.
And all jokes aside, remember to hug your kids, laugh with strangers, and make love to whoever the hell you want.
Just give us a call, 512-255-8678.
They sure will. avconsultations.com. They will take care of you. National Chicken Wing Day. So I know here in Austin, you hit all the wing places and so forth in the Austin area. AV Consultations has probably done their work. Bobby, also got to talk about our friends right there, Justin Long, JL Racing, Generation Race Cars. You watch these guys weekend after weekend. It's like they keep floating race cars out, and these guys, top notch right there when you're looking for the best in race cars. It's definitely GRC.
That's right. Definitely one of the best out there right now. Jeff Shepard picking up another big win this weekend up at Kennedale. He's also the point leader there at our friends at Cotton Bowl Speedway. So JL Racing has a really good program. They are customer-centered, customer-based. They race the cars that they sell, and they service the rest. And they'll definitely take care of you. All you got to do is contact our buddy Justin Long. He'll set you up, build you a great car, rebuild the one you got, and they definitely look out for their customers because they're racers helping racers. That's what they do up there at GRC. And Justin, known Justin a long time, and a good friend of the show, and just a good dude in general up there. So get with Justin up there at GRC, and he'll take care of you.
Absolutely. Always one of those guys when we want the technical stuff and technical, inside, we go to Justin to try to get him on the show. And he was actually on here just a couple of weeks ago as we were talking about some of the different things, tires. And I see that tire thing continuing to come up where it's like different racetracks, Bobby. It's like, okay, you can run the whatever. It's like tires are becoming a concern, which, that they always have been. But now it's like, man, the tire thing is going to be, especially now as we get further into this thing, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens now that tracks are allowing you can run this tire on the left side, whatever the case is. I'm not sure the details of that, but that's going to be fun to watch here as we start to get to the end of this.
Well, tires, it's just like it was on the pavement a couple of years ago during the pandemic. Tires was number one.
Yep.
Now it's trickling down. It's the scale of the economy, right? The lesser the tires or the less amount of tires, the higher they're going to go. That takes precedent over the good costs that these guys are getting with these factory stocks. So I think it's going to be a change in the factory stocks as they go to the ST1s and the ST2s with these new short track tires these guys are running. So I think it'll all even out a little bit. You know, those asphalt super late model guys and modified guys, they love spending all that money on tires. So
Yeah.
it's definitely not going to be a shortage of tires in the long run. Might just be a little bit of shortage here for the transition right now.
Well, and I think the big part about that is I've talked to a couple of dirt folks where I'm like, exactly what you're talking about. It's like, don't worry, you got big shows coming up. They're going to be burning through tires. I mean, the asphalt guys, they'll burn through them. I mean, they'll go out and run 5 or 6 laps on practice tires. Boom, they're going to the scrapyard. So you're going to have plenty of tires, not to worry right there as you get those tires from the asphalt guys. We talked about the Cars Tour a little bit earlier in the end of the Pro Late Model race. Maybe we'll save the Jimmy Renfrew ending right there. I actually think that was a better ending in the Pro race, but we'll save that. How about a look right here at the final few moments of that Pro Late Model race, the Throwback 276 that happened this past weekend at Hickory. And this is courtesy of our friends at Flow Racing.
Top 5, that's Berry in the 62, Tyrell in the 81, and then the 5 of Queen and the 28 of Zillish up into the top 10.
And Connor Hall in the 17, who I think once he lost the lead.
Oh, we got a hard crash and fire in turn 1. One car has gone in hard, and that's Buddy Isles. And Isles is quick to climb out of that car that is ablaze underneath the hood.
So many names. We don't know who's going to bring home the checkered flag as they work through the Death Wish Coffee restart zone. Perhaps the best launch on the top side that we've seen for Ronnie Bassett Jr. so far, but is still not going to be good enough to get the top spot. Contact behind for third. Cade Brown trying to throw some elbows and get up to the top 4.
He's tussling with 3-time Hickory winner.
Hickory a lot this year, that high lane working, high entry, but great momentum off the corner for Ryan Millington, trying to drive away from Connor Hall. They'll come around this time. 3 laps to go. Hall slips on the bottom. Millington able to drive away as he tries to fend him off.
Millington doing everything just about perfect right now. We've seen how loose Hall's car has been when he has to hold a tighter radius off the corner, typically on restarts. Now in the battle for the win. 2 to go as Hall looks low again.
Millington going to stay on that high lane. He gives the bottom to Connor Hall as they work off of turn 2. Millington still holding strong. Connor Hall is there as they go into 3 and 4. White flag in the air. Millington slides up the hill. He's trying to save it. 1 more lap to go as they pass Brent Cruz. Millington into the back of Connor Hall. Hall is sideways off of turn 2 as they come around to 3 and 4. Who's going to get back here first? Millington into the back of Connor Hall. He spins out, and Ryan Millington is going to cross the line.
Well, opinion has varied on that. Turn your mic back on. We can't hear you.
Yeah, video was choppy. I don't know what that was all about, but anyway. Yeah, I think you've probably seen that, and we'll pull that thing out and get it reposted. But it became very evident right there that the 15 was not going to let him win the race.
Yeah, no, sorry, I was reading the Texana thing. Sorry.
Oh, it's all right.
We can talk about that next because I was Chris mentioned it, but I was double checking on the Texana post. But no, opinion has varied. I feel like Millington kind of had an "I gonna get you back" moment, but I guess it's okay to get a little extracurricular. Just don't get extracurricular coming to the checkers. I think is what they've determined, set the precedent for in the Cars Tour. So they didn't have a lot of penalties for some of the other contacts. So I think that it's I just think it's not an off. It's not not going to get Western, if you will. As they come to the checkers. So,
yeah, I did like, and again, that's questionable. I mean, the finish right there, depending on how, everybody sees that different. But what I did like is when you had the one car, the Junior Hanley car, which I just hated that it was a Junior Hanley car, throwback that spun out, and he kind of sat there and he did what all of racers do. I mean, he sat there and he waited and waited and waited and waited. Yellow flag comes out, boom, started and took off. 3-lap penalty. I like that idea.
That's really good.
I like that a lot. And I think that's where, because you mentioned it earlier, when we were talking about with the Cars Tour, is the Cars Tour getting too big? And I think we're doing stuff like that I think that kind of hones them in a little bit more to where, yes, it's getting big. I think that one of the I think the move right there, in the sense that the winner got, removed from the top spot. I think that does kind of ground them a little bit, because that's one of those things to where we look at ARCA, for example. ARCA has drastically changed. They get out there and they run each other over, and we see it in the supers. We see it in the pros and all that. And I do like that the late model stocks that with the car tour, they do seem to be a little more proactive. And that's where you mentioned earlier, where as that race went on, yeah, you had that at the end of the race, but there were a lot of other times during that race, Bobby, where I think that they could have taken each other out, because they were, I mean, they were all over each other like a cheap fucking suit. And I think that's where some of those penalties maybe pull that back a little bit, to where, yes, they're growing, and you got these folks that are coming in and doing whatever, but at the same time, they're trying to keep it just as homey as possible with rules like that.
Well, I mean, I think that it's going to work. I mean, obviously, it's going to have an opportunity to work. But yeah, they definitely. I mean, they set the precedent, right? But I mean, even I text you, and I'm like, "Damn, dude, is it normally this? Is it normally this extracurricular?" And you're like, "Yeah."
A lot of that was a track. I think a lot of that was Hickory. I think a lot of that was that part. I think they could have gotten more physical. But maybe some of those penalties were factoring in. I don't know, but I didn't mind sitting on my couch watching that shit. That was really cool to watch as they got after.
It was a fun race to watch. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I think it was just I don't know. It was just interesting for me. You watch a lot more car store races than I do, because it never fails. I'm usually at a damn racetrack when I'm usually at a racetrack when the car store races are coming on. So.
Yeah, it's good stuff to find. It is very good stuff to find.
Won't be at a racetrack much longer, but
yeah. Did you see Jason Myers and Jonathan Brown at good old Bowman Gray?
No,
he had another incident over there. I'm like, oh my God, come on, man, come on. Let's calm down here a little bit. I'm kind of over that. That to me, when you go back and look at some of the things that we see right now, I look, I've got friends that work there, and I've got friends that have worked there for a long time, but it's like, come on. I mean, you're hurting the sport with shit like this. And when they did the whatever that show was, it's like, yeah, the Madhouse or whatever. It's like, I've said this for the longest time, like when the NASCAR guys would get over there and show their ass doing stupid shit. It's like, as much as the short track people didn't like NASCAR racing, you would get the short track racers that would come out the next week and do the same stupid shit that the NASCAR guys were doing. And that seems to be, I don't know. I love Bowman Gray. I love that concept. I wish that we had something like that around here. But it's like, come on, man! This is an old bit. Let's try to do something different. But you know what? Doesn't matter what I say. That place is full. That place is full. They don't give a damn what I say. They don't care what I think or what I say, because they're full each and every time that they show up there.
And it'll be full for the there for the Clash when they show up there in February. So it's crazy that they race every week, but they do the old school, man. They don't start until like April.
Yeah.
They go April to September, and that's it.
Yeah. No, I agree. And that's not a bad thing. That is not a bad thing. What was the Texana?
It was the Cord guy. I was hoping that I could get Cord to come on here and talk about it, but he released the two. They're only running 2 dates for the rest of the year.
Yeah,
they've got to work on some drainage issues, so they can't get that done to get a race in August. So they are going to have 2 different races. I just lost it. What the hell? They're going to have one race on September 7th.
Yeah.
With that dwarf car race, with the powder puff dwarf car race. So that race is still happening. And then they're running on October the 5th. Only thing that coincides with that is that San Antonio race reunion. So I will actually be at Texana that race weekend instead of at the race reunion there down in Poteet. But definitely was willing to help out Cord any which way that I could. Obviously got some prior obligations that I've had pretty much all year there on September 7th. So not going to be able to make that race. Wasn't going to be able to make it before on the original schedule. but definitely not going to make it now. Looks like there'll be practice night there on the 6th and practice night there on October 4th. So they're working on making that track better. Cord has got I've talked to a couple of people down there, and Cord has options on the table for 2025. He's working at what's going to be the best option for Texana Raceway Park moving forward. And I'm sure they'll let anybody. I think they'll let everybody know when they get a chance to let everybody know. So,
Yeah.
not the greatest news. Not for me. Everybody knows how much I enjoy announcing down there at Texana, but I get it that it's the circle of life, and I understand why Owen did what he did, and I have no ill will towards Owen, no ill will towards Cord and the gang down there. So it's I'll be seeing you at a racetrack for sure. You just may not be hearing me talk on the microphone.
Well, and I think here's the whole thing with that is that there have been a lot of people. I mean, Texana to me, man, 2020 was really that time for Texana when they really kind of blew everybody out of the water. I mean, it was kind of one of those spots where you could go, it was out of the way, and you could go do whatever. The place lays out really nice during the pandemic, and folks had nowhere to go. I mean, I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, you couldn't go race other places and do other things, and that's when that 2020 class was just unbelievable. I mean, everything that happened right there at the end. But I mean, here's your opportunity, guys, to where it's like I see a lot of people that with that. I mean, Cord. I mean, I love Cord. I love his family. Cord's not a promoter. Cord's an owner. Cord's a racer. Cord is a business owner. Cord has Magnum Services. He's got a lot of other shit that he needs to do. He cannot be sitting there operating a racetrack. I think the tandem that he had right there with he and Owen was just it's a dynamic that it hit at the right time, and they did some really, really good stuff. I think this is where for all the people that aspire to be a promoter and have all these great ideas and want to do all of these other things. I've heard a couple of names mentioned. I think this is where you need to go and take advantage of it. I mean, go and do it. And here's what I'm going to tell you. I mean, Cord owns a place. He's not just going to let you go and yeah, do it for nothing. You're going to have to pay. I mean, you're going to have to pay to probably operate and lease that place. But I think this is where for racers that want to keep this going, because we see the pattern right here with all of these racetracks. I mean, look around, look at Kennedale, look at everything up north, look at Waco. These are racers that have either bought or leased racetracks to keep them going. And I think that's what needs to happen right here. I mean, if somebody wants to take the initiative to go and run, and I think Texana is a great place because it's not in Corpus, it's not in the San Antonio area, it's not in DFW, it's not in Austin, it's isolated. It's isolated, and I think he can do a lot of really, really good things there. This is where somebody needs to call Cord Beard and strike up a deal. Go out there and put your money where your mouth is and go fucking operate this place is what I think needs to happen. And I've seen names thrown around. I mean, like we were talking about Cody Hardage. Cody Hardage ain't got time for that shit. I mean, it's like there's got to be somebody that can go out there and do that. And don't nominate me because I ain't got no money. And I just have ideas. They're all for free. And I will consult you if you need it for a fee. God damn it. But we need this place racing. We need this place racing.
It's an integral part of the South Texas racetracks.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's 4 if you count Cotton Bowl as Central South Texas. So it's a great place. Cord's going to work on the drainage. They're on the back straightaway. You think once he fixed the drainage and maybe personally, I don't want to. It's easier to spend other people's money. Maybe add some lights to the backstretch. That place still be top notch as it is now. Maybe make that backstretch a little bit brighter. That might be only last little bit of things he's got to do to make that place the best that it is. So,
well, he has spent a lot of money at this point, so it's very obvious that he's invested in what he's doing right there. Want to try to show one more video. I don't know why it is when we go online. It could be maybe the people that are hitting our server when our videos kind of skip like that. I tried different ways to do these, but I want to show one more video because we had quite the finish there to the Prairie Dirt Classic with Bobby Pierce finally winning that. He becomes the first winner of the PDC, or first father and son winner. Man, and this one looked like one hell of a finish as well. Let's take a look and see if we can hopefully get the end of this one.
Heel work, nose to tail, Bobby Pierce. Contact, no. They're side by side. 1 to go. The Barons 1 to go. Ruben, what a race.
It's in this. Oh, it's right there in front of the 32 of Pierce. The Barons 1 lap to go. Pierce going to take the lead on the final lap. Off of corner number 4. He's led 262. He'll lead the final lap. He's a PDC champion. He's a PDC champion. Woo!
He's PDC champion, sounds like.
Nah, that's what it sounds like.
Hey, man, that
all right, I'm messaging our buddy over there at the mutual friend that we have that was helping Cord. I'm messaging him right now, double checking. He still wanted to double check if we were available for September 7th. I said no, unfortunately not. We're still both out.
Yeah, that was quite the finish right there as they came to the flag. And hey, man, Bobby Pierce. I mean that looked, man. I love the dirt late models, and that's a cool thing. You can watch those guys every night. Every night, it seems like you get all that great racing action.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it was a good show. Online, you talk about being a needle mover. That definitely was in both positive and negative ways for various reasons. That was a hell of a needle mover there with the, you know, how they call the IWC Internet Wrestling Community. We have the Internet Racing Community, the IRC. They definitely were talking about that race in all different capacities. So both good and bad about that finish. But yeah, that was a hell of a finish. I got to see the highlights just like you did. So
yeah,
you know.
Yeah. No, Colin, I ain't never heard you that squealy. That
Hey, Colin, they're looking for an announcer at Texan on September 7th. Maybe you ought to give them a call.
There you go. There you go. Give them a shout, my man. That could be a great place right there to go dive in. I think it's going to be a good car count. Let's take a look right here before we get on up out of here again. Once again, reminding you guys, August the 10th is going to be coming up at the Cotton Bowl Speedway, the Summer Showdown Series night number 3. They'll solidify and crown all the champions there with all of that. But the big thing that we're talking about, we had Memphis Villarreal on the show earlier. Coming up this Saturday, it is Sigma Super Saturday at the Houston Motorsports Park at the HMP Oval. You've got the return of the modifieds, the return of the Texas trucks, and then all the different classes that you see right there. I think there will be some Crown Vics. I've been told that there will be some Crown Vics that are going to show up. You know that the Eco stocks will be there. The Legends continue to grow. The HMP stock cars can. I think 105. I think 105 is actually off this weekend, as far as I know. So maybe we get some of those factories and guys that'll show up for that, and the legacies and so forth, and of course the spectator races. So looking like a really cool night that should happen at the HMP Oval. As weather, I think, is not going to be an issue. I mean, if anything, it's going to be hot. We were talking about mosquitoes and all that shit a while ago. I mean, be prepared for that. But I think going to be a good night on the Texas Asphalt Short Track this weekend at HMP.
Yeah, the only asphalt remaining short track in the great state of Texas. So those that are looking forward to asphalt racing, get your ass to Houston. I know you'll be there. I am working on logistics. I'm almost positive that that I can be there. So you know, we'll see if I'm there for sure. But I'll definitely try my best. Like everybody else, I definitely try my best to make it down to Houston. Just depends on how my dad's doing. So other than that, I'm looking forward to it. If I can't get there live, I'll definitely catch it with our friends on the streaming service there on Race On. So.
And don't forget, if you are going to make a weekend out of that, you can always go to the HMP Oval or HMP Oval Track Facebook page, and it'll take you right to the Holiday Inn right there, Intercontinental. There are a couple of different rates, special racer rates that you can get. One has a free breakfast. Yes, the Omelet Man is there once again. I meant to post that the other day. The Omelet Man is there if you go have the breakfast, if that's part of your package. But you can make a weekend out of it. Just go enjoy the races. I think it's something that ought to be a fun night of racing. I'm really hoping that trucks and modifieds. I mean, this is something else to where it. Man, you guys. There's been a lot of call out for that. I know it costs a lot of money for you guys to race. But I mean, just go. I've seen a lot of back and forth right there. I'm kind of keeping my own little count, and the count's lower than I want it to be. But hopefully we get folks out there. And man, like Memphis was talking about earlier on the show, man, I wish we'd have got that July 6th race in, because that son of a bitch right there was going to be that was going to be a little bit of a Texas Race of Champions right there.
Yeah, there was all kind of people coming out of the woodwork, people that you wouldn't even believe getting in cars.
I know. So hopefully that happens. Trucks, you need to show up. I had somebody message me earlier, and they're like, hey, man, why don't you talk about the legacies and all the others? I'm like, guys, I don't need to talk about you guys. You show up. You guys are not the problem. You guys are heavy in car count, and you put on great races, and eco stocks are healthy. You guys all do well. It's these other guys that I want to challenge, and hopefully we get that. But we shall see. But it's not going to be a weather thing. Hopefully everybody gets out. Rest of the week, dude, what's going on? Oh, you're going to Houston anyway.
I'm going to Houston anyway. I got another work conference to go to. This time it'll be down in Houston. If everything goes well with the conference and everything goes well with my dad, I'll be in Houston at H&P there probably Friday night for practice, and maybe even I will definitely be there for the race on Saturday if I stay over. So that's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of stuff to do. Busy time of the year with conferences at work and different stuff like that. But then you throw in the little hiccup here we have my dad that throws in a whole nother wrench. But I'll know more in the morning about that for sure as I go back and see him. So.
That's right. Absolutely. All of the positive thoughts and so forth right there with your dad. Of course, I miss his little, it was one of those things when we start the show, I'm always looking for, hello, boys. Kind of one of those things. We're like an hour and a half into the show. Hello, boys. Glad you got started. Well, we've been on for a while, Dad.
Been on there for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Been on for a while. So all the best, thoughts right there to you guys, Bobby. Friends, big weekend coming up, like we said in the teaser in the description of the program tonight. I think the weather has passed. It's just now going to be heat. And now we're moving into the balance of the regular season, time to get into big show season. And of course, we're going to have you covered right here on the Revved Up Sports Show as we continue rolling on all the way up through the end of the year. Take you to Snowball, take you all the way to the end, and hell, then we'll be doing Chili Bowl Nationals and all that stuff. So
Snowball be here before we know it.
Going to be here before we know it. It's going to be interesting here at Snowball too, with Flo and Racing America kind of doing some stuff there. So I think that's going to be fun. I think that's going to be fun to see. I'm curious to see who shows up at Snowball this year. I think Snowball is going to be, I mean, not that it's never star-studded, but I think this year, we might see a couple of different other ones that maybe haven't peeked their head in yet.
I think we'll see a couple of former Cup Series champions there, and at least on the pre-entry list for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think some of these guys are really kind of figuring the blueprint of William Byron that has been doing all these different super late model races and pro late model races, and you see what it's done for him. I think they may all be figuring this stuff out. I think they may be figuring out that the super races aren't bad. Before we go, what do you think about old George Russell getting thrown out? It's not very often we talk about Formula One, somebody getting thrown out.
Not very often we talk about somebody getting thrown out with Formula One. A big bunch of news days today. They announced that Chico is going to keep that Red Bull spot. Yep. They announced today they're going to keep him even before the summer break. Ricardo needed a top 5 to take that spot versus the top 10 there in Belgium, but he's going to keep it. Ricardo's still going to be the reserve driver. Hold on. Take my breath away as I talk about Formula One.
Formula One.
And then our buddy number 55, Carlos Sainz, has announced he's going to drive for Williams today.
Going to Williams, I saw that. Yeah,
that's a weird landing spot for him, but that just kicks out Logan Sargent, so there won't be an American presence in Formula One. Granted, he wasn't much of a presence as it was anyway. So
yeah. Who's going to drive that 7 Cup car? The Corey LaJoie move right there. I think that there are big things coming there with Rodney Childers coming over. I don't know if that was Rodney Childers looking at that team and saying, I don't want to deal with that guy. I mean, we'll never know. I think that may have been part of it, to be honest with you. I think they're going to line him up somebody different.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
More veteran.
It'd be crazy if Kyle Busch ends up over there, but I think he got a little crossways with Spire when they purchased the truck series team. So I don't know. I still like to see McDowell Michael McDowell and Rodney Childers hook up together. I think that could be a hell of a pairing. Two veteran guys like that. But I don't know, man. It leaves an open seat. Maybe Ryan Priest goes there. I don't know. But there's still 2 high-profile seats left. And I say high-profile, and there's one more seat there at front row. Actually, there's 3. Because you got the seat at front row, the potential seat there at 2311, the potential seat that's going to open up at Trackhouse, and then you got the Spire number 71 car, number 7 car rather. So you got 4 seats still to be filled. So we'll see how that shakes out. And then there's no telling what I think you're going to end up seeing. I thought that Zane Smith was going to end up back at front row, but now the talk is that he's going to end up in that SVG will get the 3rd car over at Trackhouse when they get the SHR charter, and that Zane Smith is going to end up down at the 16 for Colleague or the 31, one of the 2. So,
well, Ford's going to let that guy get away, and that's too bad. I always thought that would be a guy for Ford moving forward.
Well, Briscoe too. They let Briscoe go too.
Yeah. To Toyota. Yeah, no doubt about that. You guys, a couple of events. The weekend of or the week of August. I guess it would be the 12th through the 16th or whatever it's going to be. You have that Wednesday night event that I-37 is doing, where they're going to have the Wednesday night race there with a couple of classes at 7. I think it's 7 or 8 o'clock. A Wednesday night race at 37 in Pleasanton. I think that's a great idea to try. I think we talked about it last week, last Monday. I'm all for that. I mean, I love the fact that Ray and those guys have the balls to try to do that. I don't know if it's going to work. Probably not, but I like that they're trying that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good. It could work out to be a blessing in disguise at how well it works out. I can't make that race. I'd like to, but I'll be over in your neck of the woods in Austin, working my normal 8 to 5. So yeah, it'll be interesting for sure to see how that shakes out.
The biggest challenge, one of the challenges that they're going to have, I think factory stocks are on that bill, is that now the King of the Hill, getting washed out at Boot Hill. Now that's going to be August 15th through the 17th. So that's going to coincide right there. So that's going to be tough. So maybe, I don't know if maybe they'll try that another time. I don't know. But hey, man, I just like the fact that 37 is trying to do that, because that's, man, in these parts, I don't, a Thursday night practice or something like that is kind of the one to me where it seems like that's off the chain. Trying to race on a Wednesday night is pretty damn ballsy, I gotta say.
Yeah, pretty crazy. But we'll see. I mean, with the Olympics going on, the Olympics will still be going on at that point too, I think. So yeah, that'll be an interesting time to see if that works. If anybody can try it, Ray and them will be the first ones to try it over there at 37.
Ray don't give a shit. They'll try it. Hello, I-37 fans. Speaking of Olympics, man, I hope that, man, if now that's impressive. That comment right there from Southern Africa, Zambia. Man, if that's legit, damn. That I didn't know that we had a phone cord that would reach out.
I didn't think we had reach that bad.
Man, that's
crazy.
Good.
That's really good.
Yeah. Good call, Chris. I'm sure they did put some feelers out. All right, time to get out of here. Other thing coming up, something really cool for the kiddos. I know that the Race Ranch is doing kids backpack giveaways and so forth. Really cool thing with the big O screen on Friday, weather permitting, which should be fine. Turning South Texas Race Ranch into a drive-in. They're going to have a 8 o'clock presentation of cars out there at the racetrack. I think that's going to be pretty cool.
Where'd they put in the screen to do that?
Say what?
Where are they putting the screen?
I don't know where they're going to do that. I don't know if that's going to be in the racetrack or the pits. I saw the pits last week from a friend of mine. I posted something on a friend of mine's. She is a weather person at one of the Corpus stations, and she was like, "This is your racetrack right now," and it was saturated. So I'm not sure where they're going to put that. Hopefully in the track somewhere where they'll let them be able to do whatever. But you'll have your presentation of cars, $10 a car load, and there are backpacks to be given. So that's a pretty cool thing right there. All right, guys. Bobby, as always, man, best thoughts to your dad, to your mom, to your sister, obviously to Liz. You guys take care of one another and, keep us keep us posted. What's going on right there? That's a tough time, and all of our thoughts are right there with you, buddy.
Yeah, I know more again when I go back to the hospital in the morning. So
Yep.
It'll all work out one way or the other.
Sure. No doubt about it. All right, guys, we are back next Monday. We'll do it again. Real Race Talk Live, LIVE, right here on the Revved Up Sports Show. We look forward to seeing you guys again. A big thanks to Memphis Real for checking in. Chris Carroll. We'll have more information about that Veterans Car Show coming up on November 10th as we get closer to that. Bobby's down south. I'm Rodney up north. We'll do it again next Monday. All the archives at RevvedUpSportsShow.com, on Race On, and on Racing America. Go to Spreaker.com. Go to Apple iTunes, go to your Google Play, all the audio podcasts, all of that shit is right there. All right, you guys, if you can't get to a racetrack this weekend, find a streamer that's going to put you in the best place. Hell, enjoy the Olympics if you're doing that as well. All right, Bobby, be well. We'll do it again next Monday. Real Race Talk, the Revved Up Sports Show.